Hello friends, this video on Management of Natural Resources Part 1 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Topics to be covered in this lesson are natural resources, need to manage resources, reduce, recycle, reuse, forests and wildlife management, water management, coal and petroleum management. So let us start with what are natural resources. So in this lesson, as the name suggests, we will talk about the ways we can manage natural resources and why is it necessary to manage natural resources. However, we have talked about natural resources in one of our previous lessons, but let us still have a quick review on what are natural resources. Again, as the name suggests, natural resources, that means resources which are obtained from nature. So substances that exist in nature and is useful to the mankind. So that is why they are known as natural resources, because they are already present in nature. We do not need to manufacture them or we do not need to produce them. They are already present in the nature and they are extremely useful to the mankind in many different ways, right? So when I talk of natural resources, you can, what are the things that come to your mind? Some of the things, can you visualize some of the things which are already present in nature and which are extremely useful to us? The first thing that comes to our mind is most of the times water, right? It is something which is natural, which occurs naturally and it is useful to us. So some of such things are soil, air, water, forests, wildlife, coal, petroleum. So I have just named some of them. So these are some of the things which are present in nature and which helps us in significant ways. For example, can you think of your life without air, water or soil? Because air is something which helps us to breathe. Water is something without which we cannot survive. Again, soil is something with the help of which we grow trees, plants, we get fruits, vegetables, flowers, right? Again, wildlife. Wildlife also has a very significant role to play because there are so many living beings which feed on other living beings, right? So everything, all living beings which exist in nature are interdependent. They are dependent on each other, right? Similarly, forests are the best supplier of wood with the help of which we construct so many furnitures and things. Coal, petroleum, we have already discussed about coal and petroleum in our previous lesson while we were talking about fossil fuels. So we have seen how they help in generating tremendous amount of energy and how that energy is useful in generation of electricity and also for other purposes like cooking and all. Right? So these are some of the natural resources. So in this lesson, our aim is to see what is the need to manage these resources. I mean, why do we really need to manage natural resources and what are the ways of managing the resources? That means why do we need to manage resources and how do we manage these natural resources? Right? Okay. So let us come to the first topic, that is why do we need to manage resources? The first reason is that resources are limited, right? Let us suppose if you look at this picture, what does this depict? This picture depicts that for one drop of water, water is nothing but your natural resource, right? So for this one drop of water, you have so many contaminants. I mean, there are so many people, all human beings, not only human beings, all living beings, everybody needs water, right? For drinking, for cooking purpose, for washing clothes, for most of the things which we do in our day-to-day life, we need water. That means every living being needs water. But the amount of water which is available to us, because it is nothing that we are manufacturing water, that okay, if the population is increasing, let us increase the production of water. It is not like that, right? So it is something which is occurring naturally. So the amount of water that is present is limited, but the number of people or the number of living beings who needs water is increasing. So that small amount, that limited amount of water has to be managed, right? If we do not manage, if we keep wasting water like anything, what will happen? A day will come when we will run short of water. People will not get water. Correct? So this is one reason why we need to manage natural resources, because the resources are limited. Resources are limited, but the needs are not limited, because the number of people, number of living organisms are increasing. I mean, if your population is increasing, your needs are also increasing. Not only the population. If we not consider the population also, like for example, our need for water, how is it increasing? Earlier, maybe water was used only for cooking purpose, drinking purposes and all. But now we also generate electricity with the help of water. So we need more water, right? So that way is also the need of water is increasing and the resources are limited. So water is just an example. It is true for all other natural resources, whether it is forests. If we cut down too much of forests, what will happen? There will be scarcity of forests. After that, you will not get greenery around you. You will not get wood from forests, right? So we need to manage resources because the resources are limited. Secondly, ensure equal distribution of resources to all. So whatever, I mean, we have to ensure, for example, let us suppose you would have seen that when water comes in your, I mean, there will be certain localities where you have little scarcity of water. So those water vans come which supply water to the locality, right? So you would have seen that people run after, as soon as the van comes, everybody runs with a bucket to get some water, right? Now, if it happens that the first person who comes, he gets all of the water, what will happen? The people who are coming after him will not get any water. But that is not correct. Everybody should get equal amount of the resource. For example, even if this one drop of water should get equally divided amongst this 4 people. Even if each of them get less water, that's okay. Everybody will manage with that little amount of water. But it should not happen that one person is getting the most of it and the other one is deprived of it. So that should not happen. So that is again another reason that we need to manage resources. We should know how to handle the natural resources so that they do not get wasted, so that they do not get consumed only by a certain group of people, right? So this is another important reason why we need to manage the natural resources. The third one, to protect the environment. Now, how do we protect the environment by managing natural resources? That's because if we do not manage natural resources, we have seen that it results in there are many activities actually which actually pollutes the environment, which causes harm to the environment. And what happens if the environment gets polluted, if the environment is harmed? As the environment gets harmed, it is we who are actually getting impacted, right? So in order to ensure a healthy, clean and neat environment, we should also manage the natural resources. So we will discuss about each of them in detail. I mean, we will discuss about the environmental consequences. I think we have already discussed about the environmental consequences in our previous lesson. So anyways, now as we go ahead with the lesson, we will see what are the different ways to manage these natural resources. So now I hope it is clear that why do we need to manage the resources. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.